Be fun. Yeah, I love her. She's fabulous.
Leave meeting. No, I'm just kidding. Got it.
She's crazy. Okay. Oh, and I'll actually, let's see what I'll do. I'll mute lines. And then if Jonathan comes in, I'll mute myself. Well, no, I probably won't, but I'll try to remember. Yeah, just give you another minute to get this all figured out, ladies. And then we'll be super candid, like open about the whole thing too. So if you guys ever have any questions, like as we're talking or anything, feel free to just like unmute and share, or you can like put it in the chat thread. I'll have that up too. So I'm just gonna mute everyone. And I guess Tracy, I'll leave you unmuted because you'll be popping in and out with me. So yeah, okay. Here we are. So my name's Crystal. I actually know everybody on the call, so that's super easy to get going, but just kind of a little bit about what we're going to be doing. So we're going to keep this under 30 minutes. Of course, if we get talking at the end and we have a party, we can be here for as long as we want, but I just like getting you guys the information right out of the, like right off the bat, not kind of, and we won't like go into any like sugar coating or anything, just kind of sharing what it is that we do, and kind of answering questions as they come up. You'll be hearing my story and Tracy, who is a coach, and also my sister's story, as we share with you as well. And like I mentioned, like feel free to unmute and ask questions or just throw questions in the chat, and then I'll go at the end and get them as well. So I'm just gonna get started and share a little bit about like my story, just a few minutes, kind of what brought me to where I am today. So I've been coaching for about 3 years now, and gosh, I was originally in the corporate world. I was a healthcare administrator, so I ran nursing homes. Got really burnt out really fast. I wish I had even like an ounce of the tools that I have now that I did then. And then I always wonder like what would have happened. So yeah, so I used to manage like employees, taking care of residents, those sorts of things. And honestly, like I was always drawn to healthcare. I was always that girl in the gym on and off, or even kind of like the party girl fit person, if that's a thing. Like I honestly remember being at the gym at like 1 a.m. slightly drunk with like my best friend, planning our spring break on a treadmill. It was a really amazing time. So I've always had some kind of like health and wellness threaded in, but that doesn't mean that I was healthy by any means. I was definitely very deep into alcohol, partying. I would like mentioned, I then when after college, I had like a really high stress, high demand job that I didn't take care of myself, and they didn't tell me to take care of myself. Ultimately, it was all you have, like keep the facility running. Like that was my job, and it wasn't survive doing it. It was do anything that you could. So I think that was kind of like the first step in me realizing that, okay, I am doing something that I feel good doing, but in my heart, but ultimately like I am nothing, like I am irrelevant to what's happening. I just need to help fix. And so kind of coming in when I found coaching piece, or when I found like this fitness piece, where the first step or the first thing that I needed to do was to show up for myself, then it was kind of like, oh, like then I almost wanted to go back and run nursing homes and be like, what would happen if I like had everybody invest in themselves and made everyone feel good to make us like work together. But that's a whole new lifetime for me. I won't get there. But so then ultimately for the past 3 years, I think I took the long road to start coaching. I started with Transform 20. It was a 20-minute program, 6 days a week, or 6 days a week for 6 weeks. And I absolutely freaking loved it. And this is how my coach Carly started me as well. She basically was just like, I don't really care what, like if you want to coach or not coach, I don't really care. All I want you to do is take care of yourself. She's just like, pick a program, pick a nutrition plan, show up for yourself every day. And then at the end of it, like, let me know how you feel. If you want to coach, share it with others, cool. If you don't, I don't care. I just want you to feel good. So that was kind of my like taste into getting started. And then for the past few years, it's been pretty epic because I've continued to focus in on myself and then also share it with others in this whole coaching thing that we'll go into. But in addition to that, I transformed from being like first in the corporate realm, and then like my yoga teacher training kind of intertwined with it. And then I was always like a dog mom. I got married, and then ultimately I got pregnant. So I was pregnant through like the middle part of my coaching experience so far. And now I'm a new mom. So that's something too that really keeps fire in my heart, because I couldn't imagine becoming a new mom without these tools. And that's why like I'm so jacked to see like you here, Whitney, and like Rosie, like see you guys here and like just get little pieces of this, because like if you take nothing from this, but to like fill your cup of energy up first, like put the oxygen mask on you first, right? Like that's the biggest thing that like jacks me up, because now as I'm 11 months postpartum and I'm feeling like way more back in my element with Jonathan, I just look back and like there was definitely hard times, and I think like, oh my gosh, what if I didn't like hold on to even like that little bit of movement, or if I even didn't have that 5 minutes of meditation, when I just was just like, how do people do this? This is impossible. So I got a little long-winded there, but so that's kind of my story and how I got here today. And then I will pop this over to Tracy, and we'll just hear, and you feel free to not like, Tracy, just tell your story, because like I feel like I got long-winded and excited. So I'll let you take it away.
It's okay. I'm sure I'll ramble too, because I got one hell of a story. Anyways, so I've been doing coaching for about 2 years now. The first year, I really wasn't really into it. I kind of just did the products, did the workouts to get myself into better shape. And I came from kind of the same regimen as Crystal, liked my alcohol, liked my fat, greasy food. That's all I would eat. And then I basically worked out so I could eat those foods. And then alcohol. So, and I've tried like everything from Herbalife to Xingular, Thrive, everything out there. Like I've tried it all. Like it was the, let's do the quick fix and just get on with our lives. So then about 3 years ago, I moved over to New London, Minnesota, and I wasn't working for a year. So then I'm like, well, maybe I'll try the Beachbody thing again and see if I can't make something of that. Well, I still got lazy. I still got unmotivated. I still did the programs and I did all the supplements, but I didn't have it in me. And then Crystal kept pushing me, and I'm like, okay, you know, maybe I can do this. I had fear of failure, and I have no belief in myself. So I had to work on like my personal development and my growth journey, and believing in myself and saying, I can do this. Like I'm perfectly capable of doing this. So then Crystal's like, well, you need to try and get to Arizona. And I'm like, no, I'll be fine. Well, then they get to Arizona and I see all the fun they're having, and it just like lit a fire in me. And I'm like, screw this. I'm doing this. Like, I'm sick of my job. Like, my job just sucks. I sell appliances and people are just rude and nasty and pissed off because they aren't getting their shit. So then I'm like, I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to feel like crap anymore. So then I'm now committing hardcore to it, and I'm loving my workouts. Like, it's just changed everything. Like, even my physique and my like mental health. Like, I can finally look in the mirror and say, yep, you know what? I actually enjoy what I see. And it's just, I've just been loving the workouts, and I just want to tell everybody, I want to have everyone join me and feel as good as I do. Like, even if they don't coach, I just want them to feel good, because it's such an amazing feeling when you reach that peak and you're like, this is freaking amazing. Like, it is possible. It just took me 2.5 years to actually do it. So sometimes people are quicker, sometimes people aren't, but I love the journey. I wouldn't change anything. I'm growing as a person, and I'm super excited to see where the next 15 years lead me. So that's basically my story. It's kind of in the roundabout way. Let's hang out with Crystal and let's go drinking and spring break and all that fun stuff and do health freaks. So yeah.
I love that. Yes, definitely. I'm like, I could still go on trips. I just like to go to bed by 10. What else?
Yeah. Yeah. We're on the same team. 10 o'clock. We're all in bed.
Yep, exactly. Okay, cool. So yeah, so I love that, because definitely we have our differences and our similarities. So it's kind of fun to see like what brought people to their journey, and then like what was that like fuel or that thing that like started them or like wanted them, you know. So for, like I mentioned, like the fact of going into these different changes in life, like becoming a new mom, I was terrified, or Tracy was like fear of failure, like these different things that like freak us out, but at the same time like it's exciting. So like not creating fear as like the crippling effect. Fear is something to be excited for, because it means like you're on the right path, you're moving to that growth point. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm gonna get into a little bit. I'll share, I might even have Trace just kind of touch on hers too, a day in the life of a coach. So basically kind of what I'll share with you is kind of how I intertwine it into my life, especially now as like a stay-at-home mom, but I also work virtually part-time in office, and I do kind of customer service work as well. So kind of like what it looks like for me every day. So like first thing I do is like right away when I wake up, I pour into myself. And how that's changed over the past 3 years is that my wake up used to be like 6:54, and then I would have to be to work by 7. So if I like had 2 minutes to put on pants, and then I would get to work, and that was like my morning. Whereas slowly over the past 3 years, I've slowly been like pushing my limits. So at first then it was like 6:30 and I was waking up and I was going for a walk, or I was reading like my personal development for 5 minutes. And then I kind of kept pushing it up because I would get more and more excited to like for the things that I was putting into my morning. So it started out as just waking up a little bit earlier to fit a little workout in. Then my coach was just like, hey, start putting in some personal development. Like, what are you reading? What are you listening to that fires you up? So then it was, okay, I'll wake up a little bit earlier, and to the point where now I'm just like out of control. Like I remember before Jonathan was born, I was like pushing the limit to like 4:30 in the morning, and I loved it. I loved every second of it. And then after he was born, it was like, okay, sleep all the time for a little bit. Whereas now I'm pretty comfortable with my 5 a.m. wake up. And that's not for everyone. Not everyone is a morning person, but the first thing that I do every day is pour into myself. So that's my fitness, my personal development, and just basically checking into my accountability group and being inspired and fueled up by those girls. Like I'm not jumping on Facebook or Instagram and scrolling and comparing myself. Like the best thing about coaching is that you switch from being a consumer to a creator. So no longer am I scrolling to consume. I am switching over from that to creating and sharing and inspiring, because even if I don't feel that inspired that day, that moment, I can share what's actually going on in my heart, and other people are in that same place. So that's kind of the first thing I do, is I kind of put myself first. And then throughout the day, since I have a baby who likes to run the show, and then I also work in the office, then throughout the day I thread in like the behaviors that kind of take control or own all of the coaching pieces. So I'm proof the product works. So that's why I'm waking up and I'm pouring into myself, because that's the only way that I can pour into other people. Then I'm going in, and like Tracy mentioned, she's like, whether they're a coach or they don't want to coach or not, like I just want this for all of my friends, family, and like people. Like I just want everyone to do these workouts and to like drink their shakes and to feel good and to check in with us, because it works, because I know it works. And that was kind of the first thing. That's why I kept like hounding at my sister. It's so fun to have like a best friend, a sister, anybody who like you literally just get to start like completely without any filters, like saying how you feel, what you feel, like it takes practice and time, but it was so fun with Tracy, because like I was literally just sharing what I was going through. And I was like, I think you might be going through this too. And like, then she'd share what was going on with her. And I'm like, yeah, we have to do this more. This isn't working. And just kind of going through those kind of transformation phases together, and then making it that much more easier to share the journey and to share what I'm going through. So that's kind of why I'm like sharing on my stories these workouts, because like people will see it in the mornings, and if I can do it, they can do it. Like that's kind of what I like to say, is like I'm not any special than anybody else. Like I don't have like an easy tool or an easy button. Okay. I just show up every day and I get motivated by doing the work. That's what actually motivates me. It's not the other way around. I wait to get motivated to work out, to invite my friends and family. Like I get motivated that way. Then also throughout the day, I like to go in and recognize the people who are showing up, or like the new mamas, just kind of showing love to anybody who's shown even just an ounce of joy, or like put an ounce of joy into my heart, because that's how I feel the best, is like when I help other people feel good, that in turn makes me feel good. And then ultimately like they're helping me feel good. So, and I thread that in throughout my day, like just kind of whether I'm reaching out to someone who signed up and they're kind of maybe on a lull, like reaching out, just, hey, I've been there. I've hidden under the dark comforter and had to get checked on by like family, friends, and loved ones, because I was isolating because I didn't feel good. And you can isolate, that's cool. But I know that you're isolating, and I'm here if you want to talk about something. So kind of those sorts of things, and so forth. And then just since in the morning I plug into that podcast or my book or whatever it is that my development is for the day. Otherwise, I also like to finish my night with something as well, since we kind of pull the phones out of the bedroom and let that be kind of restore, like refresh time. So basically I just thread it in when Jonathan's napping, or in between like my breaks, things like that, and sharing it with others. Tracy, I know that you actually go into the office. Is there anything that is kind of different for your day in the life of a coach, as far as like when you do your invites, or like let people know of like different workouts that are coming out, or different things like that? Is there anything special? And if there's not, it's fine. It's just, I know that you actually, like I mentioned, I had to wake up at 6:45, like to get to work 2 minutes or whatever, like you actually have to go into work. So do you find that you're more structured in the morning, or what is that like for you?
Yeah, I do. And that's why I am trying to make Beachbody more effective so I can cut back some, because I do my workout, I get up at 5, I do my workout, I do my personal development, I get all that done. And at that point is when I want to work. Like I feel like I'm most creative. So it almost stalls me when I have to go into work, which I have to create that momentum and keep it going, which I haven't figured that out yet. So like by the time I get to work, I still have that habit of let's go on social media, let's just scroll, let's see what everybody else is doing because I'm bored at work. So
Mhm.
now I'm creating my momentum when I have downtime. I'm telling myself, okay, you got to work. Like there's no scrolling, doesn't matter. I have those little pockets that I have where I'll work, and I try to do my invites right away in the morning as quick as I can. So then if people respond, then I have the day to like respond to them and get the information they need. But yeah, that's basically how I do it, is I try and do it in little pockets and stop the social media scrolling, because that's a really bad habit I have, but I'm getting better at it. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's basically what I'm trying to do. So then I can quit my full-time job and then just do Beachbody is my goal.
Cool. Yeah, definitely. And like that momentum like carries itself. Like you said, like if you start scrolling, then you just kind of go down into that lull. Whereas like if you invite in the morning and then you're having these conversations with people that you actually like love to hang out with and talk to, like that just keeps your day going anyway. So yeah, so definitely. So that's kind of like me. And then in the sense of like I I do the same thing. I'm just like, okay, when can I like plug back in and connect with my people? Because also I do a lot of voice memos. So like crying Jonathan doesn't fit in that well. But a work in progress. Okay, cool. So then I'll just kind of touch a little bit about like misconceptions and time, as far as like why people, like a lot of times someone will mention to me, I can't coach, I'm not, and then like fill in the blank. So a lot of things that I hear is I'm not at my goal. Like this is a big one for my people lately. I'm not at my goal weight. I'm just like, what? Who said that weight, like a number defined anything? So kind of the best part about this is that where you are right now, your journey is where somebody else is and where somebody else needs to see you. So whether that is having a mindset that's focused on negativity, not hiding that, but being like open, like when we have doubts, when we ignore them and like kind of put them down in a box, they literally just stay there. Like they don't go anywhere. But if you have doubts and fears and you speak them into the universe and you share them, that's where like the growth and the magic happens. And that's also where the other people see and like really relate and connect to you. So as far as not being at your goal anything, that's exactly where you need to be, because that's where your people and like those that need to hear this message from you are going to get it. I mean, even if like all of us and like there's so many people, coaches in the network, like even if we're sharing the exact same thing, which is fill yourself up first, all of us are going to come at it with our own like special background, our own special history. So like my people are going to be way different than Tracy's people and so forth, because we're all connecting where we are right now. And that's different in each of us, right? So that's kind of the biggest thing, is that misconception of not being where you need to be. Or I also hear a lot not having time. If you've ever heard of giving the busiest person in the room the task to get done, that's what it is. Like if you don't have enough time, it's kind of like meditation. If you don't have 5 minutes to meditate, then you need to meditate for an hour. Basically, coaching is what we use as like our tool or like our train to like free up our time. We take back control of that like chaotic, spastic, getting everything all over the place. And we kind of like hone in on what's important. Let's breathe. Where do we need to be? And like, let's put small steps in place to be successful. So that's why we talk a lot. You might hear the word like power pockets. Back when I used to go into the office, one of the main times where I would connect with like people that really inspired me or like my people would be when I went on my bathroom breaks. I would go to the bathroom, go pee, and then I would come out and I would take like 5 minutes. No, I wouldn't take 5 minutes, like 2 minutes. And I would go in and like see different posts that were inspiring me, or different, like at that point, it probably would have been dog moms or even pregnancy. I was pregnant when I was in the office as well. So anybody who was kind of like firing me up and just like, I really wanted to connect with and vibe with them, that was when I would go in and like have those connections and meet my new people. So those were kind of power pockets for someone who didn't have a lot of time, because that was me. And then kind of the last kind of misconception, and feel free in the comments to drop any misconceptions that you might personally have. I know when I was starting, one of my main thing was I'm not credible, and why I don't have I don't have any experience. Like what would somebody learn from me? But kind of going back up to that first thing that I talked about, like where you are at in your journey, that's your credibility. Your experience, your history is your credibility. So whether this is your day one ever of anything fitness and health, that is so powerful because that's somebody else's too. Or whether you've been doing this, or like I got my yoga teacher certificate. So like those different things that were in my background, like created credibility. Pregnancy, going through and giving birth, like that created my credibility. Gosh, I used to teach prenatal yoga before I was pregnant. And if I could just go back and hug myself back then, because I had no idea what I was getting into. I had a crap ton of empathy and wanting to share like how yoga made me feel good, but I had no idea what it felt like to have a giant baby sitting on my bladder. That's the end of it. I had no idea. I do now, that's for sure. Okay, so my tangents, I digress. So welcome, Danielle. I'm so glad you're here. We're just kind of running through some things, so we'll catch you up at the end.
All good. Thank you.
Yeah, babe. Okay, cool. And then I'm just gonna touch on, I have one more thing and then Tracy will pop in. We're doing really good on time also. So feel free to throw anything you have in the chats, or just at the end, we can do questions or anything. Okay, I get excited. Okay, and then the last thing I'm going to talk about before sharing it over to Tracy is going to be, how do we make money as coaches, or how do we make this a business and create that time freedom that a lot of us are looking for? So there's two main ways that we make money as coaches. One is, I forgot the word, commission. There it is. One is commission. So anytime you help a person, I just like to say a challenge pack, it's like $150 for a challenge pack, right? A lot of us, I think half of the people in this group have them maybe. So it's $150 to sign up and you get like all of these things with it. But also what you get for commission is $50 back, or 40 something dollars back. So we get paid on commissions right away. That's it. And that's kind of what fuels that ability to like take the time and set up your accountability groups. I always love doing like accountability partners and kind of sharing that workload. Because in the beginning of coaching, it feels like you do a lot of work for little return, because what you're doing is you're setting yourself up. Okay, because you're getting that commission, and like, so right away, you're just working for commission. But every time you have like that challenge back, that commission, when it's called cycle bonus, when they like the next month purchase, you're getting volume and like payment from that as well. So that's called team cycle. So you're getting paid those two main ways. And then also, as you start to kind of build your business, you get bonuses for different ranks and different things that you've hit. But for example, Thursday is payday in Beachbody for our coaches. And so every Thursday, you'll see your commissions from the last 7 days. And then you'll also see that cycle bonus come through for anybody that you've helped that continues on their journey, that is still like using the products and is still in your accountability group showing up. So those are kind of the main ways that we get paid as coaches. So I always like to kind of touch that in right away. And there's a video that I will like send you guys that kind of talks about that specifically. So I'll just grab emails at the end. Because obviously, like, I didn't sign up because I knew all about the commissions and the payments. I signed up because I was obsessed with the fitness piece, and then this just kind of worked for me. Okay, cool. So the last thing I'm gonna kind of get started with, well, I guess maybe before we go to how to get started, I'll just kind of jump in chats. I think I see them here. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to unmute or let me know. And then if not, we'll just jump right over to Tracy. Money is a big one. Oh yeah, with money restraints. So two, and it's really funny because when I first signed up, I was like $160. I'm not doing this. I can't do it. I can't. I was making up my own workouts. I was going on YouTube. I had HIIT training. So I was making up my own CrossFit HIIT stuff at home. And I remember finally like biting the bullet and just being like, yes, whatever. If Carly wants me to do it, fine, I'll do it. And it was like 6 months, not even 6 months later, like it was later down the road. And I remember like smiling as I was driving the car, thinking back to like my former self days. And I was like, that's really interesting that like, that was my biggest concern at that point. As like, at that point, I was like running to Target for who knows what, and like just my Amazon cart was obnoxious. Whereas nowadays we're a little bit more under control here. Oh, okay, cool. 10 minutes. Sorry, I just had a notification. So
I did too.
Oh, cool. All right, Tracy, if you want to just kind of get started on how to get started. Wow. And then we will open it up for any questions. And then it looks like we might get kicked off, but that's 10 minutes and we said a 30 minutes, so we're good.
So yeah, basically how you get people started is you
Or like
ideally want to start them.
how would they get
Go ahead.
started?
Oh,
So
you mean as, okay, so I totally lost the question. So now I'm confused.
no, yeah, you're good. It's this exact same answer. It's just like how they would get started if they're ready to get started on their coaching and fitness journey. So basically just
Oh,
the challenge pack. Yep.
okay. Okay. I'm like, oh my gosh, well, there goes my homework. Yeah, so basically, just getting them started with challenge packs, and what comes in the challenge pack is like your Beachbody on Demand. You get a whole year access of the Beachbody on Demand, any workout you want, and then that comes with either your supplement of protein and Energize, or your Shakeology with all your nutrients, basically your multivitamin in a bag. And then so that comes with that, and then you get access to our like accountability groups or support and all that stuff, and then you get like the one-on-one coach, whoever you were signed up with. So if you have any questions, anything you need answered or whatnot, that's the person you're going to ask to. And you basically just, I think the challenge back is kind of the biggest thing, right? Is that
Yeah, and it comes, so then your coach starter fee, that $40 coach access fee is waived when you get started on a challenge pack. So that's like super sweet. That's like your website and your back office so that you can help people that way. And then I'm trying to think, and then of course it comes with the accountability groups. And then I always kind of tell people the first like 3 to 6 months, it depends on how comfortable they are. They can totally just jump in and run the accountability groups with us. So it's kind of like, if you start your day one fitness journey, it's not like, oh, I'm working out, I have to figure out how to like inspire other people to stay accountable. And like, you have to do all these things. Like we already have all these things in process. We've been doing this for a few years. So the best part too, is when you get started is we call it success partners, where you work together and inspire each other. You basically success partner with your coach to kind of figure out like the ins and outs and so forth, if that makes sense. Yeah. Perfect. Yep. So I know that, and I've been talking to my girls a little bit. Whitney actually just got started 2 or 3 days ago. So she's been doing the unstressed meditation. And can you shake your head? Are you 37 weeks? I told everyone 37 weeks. Are you 37 weeks? 30, I can't fingers. 27, 39,
35?
38, 6, 7, 8, 38. Good enough. Anyways, so she's
Play the
literally
guessing
like
game.
2 weeks away from popping, which is so exciting. So yeah, so Whitney just got started. And so if you guys have any questions specifically as far as like coaching, or do you have to start as a coach right away? What does your fitness journey look like? Blah, blah, blah. Maybe I'll just go through and unmute everyone. And actually I'll stop the recording too. That's a great idea.